An unusual front row here at Michigan. William Duncan and Blake Camphausen lead off the grid. And also here under unusual circumstances. Originally we were supposed to go to Belle Isle, the street circuit, but issues with logistics, getting all 84 cars this weekend into the garage area, plus some of the track conditions a little too rough for these vehicles, ended up sending us to the Michigan International Speedway, which they're testing out their lights. Brand new lighting system put in place, so these drivers get to race under it for the first time. William Duncan had the lead on the start. Blake Camphausen is going to lunge out to a race lead going through turn number 3, but here comes Fred Flintstone, last week's winner in race number 1. He's going to sneak past going 3 wide, and he's going to lead lap number 1 here today. Duncan up there as well. You saw a couple other drivers with some good qualifying efforts. Tony Tavalaris, another solid effort in the number 69 machine, and Tommy Turbo in car number 3, the U.S. Army machine, would get up into the second place position. Caution would come out, and this would be a race back to the line, as you can see them right behind them. Side-by-side battle, and Tommy Turbo is going to win the battle to the line. Let's see what the caution was all about. Right behind these guys, it happened about mid-pack. Chester Harvey running behind Skylar Johnson, one of the championship competitors. The inside line stalls out, and all 3 of them go into the wall. Harvey, Johnson, Dodd, and Shrimp Angrit's involved as well. Makes contact with both the 88A and the 29. This would not be good for Skylar Johnson, who had been a championship competitor for most of the year. Didn't get that good qualifying run, and now has some damage because of it. Hard impact for some of these drivers, but all 4 cars would continue to race, though a lot of them would be much slower than the rest of the pack. Tommy Turbo in the number 3, leading them off to the green flag on lap number 7. Fred Flintstone right behind him. Turbo's not had a particularly good season, maybe trying to end out the season with a bang. Chris Dodd has usually been outshining the 3 car, essentially most of their careers. But he's going to easily get past on the inside line by Fred Flintstone, Blake Camphausen, and William Duncan. Christian Hartono in the 24 is also up there as well. He's trying to make some moves late in the season after he's kind of fallen out of the championship hunt. Car's having a hard time with the inside line in this race, probably because we were originally supposed to be running a road course. Another driver having a hard time, DJ Kurtis in the back. Watch out for them in front of him. Hamill and Wisnowski get together, but DJ Kurtis, the points leader, starts all the way in the back, and that might be difficult for him as we have more trouble for the 33. That's Benoit Leclerc-Irvine who's going to get into him and slide up in front of him. See, this is why you have to be on point week in, week out. Kurtis was worried about this. He wasn't too confident in the vehicle this weekend, knew something was going to go wrong. And it looks like that actually might have been a mistake on his part. He seemed to have come down on the 15. And that's going to put both of them to the wall. No cars go out, but under caution, looks like Skylar Johnson went to the Jeffrey Finguy School of Braking for things. He's going to run to the back of the 30. Reports over the radio that the brakes aren't too good on that number 29 machine, so wasn't able to slow it down in time. Bill Littlejohn not too happy about that, but would continue racing despite the damage to the back of his car. Pit stops early on. About half the field would go down pit road on lap number 13. See some drivers going down, some drivers staying out. So interesting pit strategy today, especially if we get some more cautions. 60 laps in this race, so they should be able to make it on 1 stop. Fred Flintstone would have the race lead as car number 441, Blake Camphausen, looking to the inside line. Kyle Collins up there as well, driver looking for a first win on the year. And there's one of the championship guys, Mark Hankins. He's in the 5th place position. Camphausen is going to go on the low line, and he's going to lunge ahead of the race leader, but here comes Fred Flintstone. Momentum on the outside line. Can Camphausen pull in front? Yes, he will. Kyle Collins trying to get to the inside of him. Not going to work. The outside line's going to lunge ahead. And how about Alexander Rowe in the number 36 machine up there in the top 10? Some good feel-good stories if they can stay up there, but it looks like we would have yet another issue in the back end. And once again, it would involve Skylar Johnson. Race is not too far in, but the 29 was slow on the restart. All these drivers behind her were quick coming off pit road, and it looks like that's going to result in a huge pileup on the front straightaway, and DJ Kurtis is involved. The points leader is going to run right into the number 29. He gets run into again by the 15. Those two just can't stay away from each other, and big mess on the front straightaway. I have to get another look at that. So you come off the corner, Johnson slow, Dodd had nowhere to go, and it's just going to result in a wall of cars across the racetrack. DJ Kurtis nowhere to go. It's going to shorten up the car on both ends. Both he and Benoit Lothair-Irvine would go out of the race. Here's a view from far away. A couple other championship guys involved, like Caden Vanevenhoven in the 81. You see heavy contact. Despite that contact, Skylar Johnson would continue to race. So no issues for her other than, the many issues so far today. Another caution means more pit stops. We would actually have two groups of cars coming down pit row. We're just showing you one right now. The leaders would come down, including a couple of drivers near the back of the pack on the second pass. That would allow Henrietta Fitzwater to lead in the Mr. Sub number 61. Aiden Shepard in the 14 is right behind her. Driver that won at Grand Detour. A couple other drivers who also have been doing well the past couple of weeks. Robert Piet, there's Freddie Munoz in the 02. Spencer Fullerton up there as well with Wisnowski, who was near the back at one point, all the way up to the front. As well as a couple other drivers that didn't pit, like Bill Littlejohn, who had that damage early on. Side-by-side battling down the back straightaway, but the number 61 would keep the lead. Max Anderson's going to be caught in the 4-wide situation, gets into Bill Littlejohn, ends up in the grass and sliding back up on the racetrack. Hard contact! Several cars involved in that one. That's going to cause a big pileup and the caution would come out. See what happened here from Bill Littlejohn's point of view. Just gets taken for a ride. And speaking of a ride, Derek Hamill in the 34 is going to go over. Oh my God, heavy contact as Carlin Doomey is going to get pounded by Engritz. Johnson just can't keep away from them. There's Fred Flintstone, who led early on. He's got some heavy damage. On board with the number 34 of Derek Hamill in the lift machine. That car is going to get lifted off the ground for the second time in 3 rounds. Keep on his wheels, but he would go out of the race, as well as a couple other drivers. The 30 of Bill Littlejohn, Carlin Dumian, Shrimp Engritz, Chris Dodd, Fred Flintstone, all going out of the race, but Skylar Johnson still hanging on there in number 29. Race back to the line. We'll see Aiden Shepard steal it away, but under caution, he would end up pitting. Mike Wisnowski would inherit the lead in car number 23, winner at Olton Park earlier this year. The number 23 machine has been kind of ping-ponging through the field. Sometimes he's at the back, sometimes at the front. Right now, he's at the very front. He's got Freddie Munoz right behind him, one of the Denali's. That's Allie Nelson and the 96 right behind them. Speaking of Allie Nelson, she'd get a great run on the outside line, run it 3 wide with Wisnowski and Munoz. Now looks like she's got a little bit of help on the outside, a more put-together drafting line. Now allow Allie Nelson to surge ahead of the 23 for a little bit. Here comes a battle to the inside line, 3 wide, but Wisnowski not going to be able to hold it. Allie Nelson's going to go to the lead. And how about Jim Gambit coming from the back of the field? He's all the way up there, battling with Allie Nelson for the race lead. He's going to try a crossover move coming to the line. See these cars fanning out across the front straightaway. Jim Gambit, he's got some speed in that 44. Can he clear the 96? Dives into that corner. Allie Nelson still trying to hang in on the outside line. Robert Piet running 3 wide for 3rd place right behind them. It is a side-by-side battle. Jim Gambit really getting that lunge in the corner, but the 96 getting that momentum leaving the corner. Looks like that outside momentum is going to work in turn 3 and 4. Where these drivers have had a hard time hanging on to the inside line in the middle. As Allie Nelson out front. But Jim Gambit is not done yet, and he has no drafting help there. He must have a good piece underneath him as he's trying to slot into line. See if he can get that push to get by the 96. Here comes Mark Hankins. He's going to shoot the gap near 4 wide. Now it is 4 wide for the lead. And Mark Hankins, one of the championship competitors, knows that it's his time to strike for the race lead. So he's going to try and lead a lap here. But he's left alone on the inside line. He's going to have to try and clear the 96 before mid-corner. Gambit's going to go to the inside to follow him, but to no avail. Looks like the 96 is going to hang on to it for now. Hankins still there, though, not giving up hope. Side by side, but it looks like the 96 is going to have a bit of an edge going to the line. Excellent battling out here near the front of the pack as they're running it 4 wide behind him, and that is a wreck right behind him. Caution is out. They're going to have to race back to the line. Nelson in the lead, but here comes Jim Gambit. He's going to snake through the middle, and he's going to look to the inside line. He'll clear him. Jim Gambit out front. Can anyone do anything about this going to the line? The 44 has a several car lengths push ahead of the 96. several draft lines right behind him. We would get a report that he would get to the line, but let's see what happened here. And it looks like just 4-wide racing gone wrong. Tavares being there is not usually a good thing. He, Pericles, and Durbin get together. Durbin ends up sliding in front of the racetrack and gets clobbered by John Gambit in the 5. And that would end the day for both Gambit and Ike Durbin. Durbin coming off a recent victory, you know, one of the highest of highs for his season, which hasn't gone too well. Now back to the norm. On board John Gambit, and yeah, just ran out of time to get by the 86. Car comes to a dead halt on the racetrack. See, Tony Tavares would be able to continue, but would be a little bit slower due to some damage from that. Jim Gambit, who won the race to the line, able to get by Allie Nelson and stay ahead of her by a couple car lengths, leads them on the restart. This is on lap number 38. We're a little past halfway point. As now's the time to strike if you want to get up to the front and stay there. We shouldn't have any more pit stops for the rest of this race. Let's see if it goes green flag though. Side-by-side racing throughout the field. Mark Hankins, the only one daring to go 3 wide. Allie Nelson's going to look to the inside line in turns 3 and 4. But that 44 is so strong on the outside. Nelson, though, coming back. It looks like in turns 3 and 4, the MO is that the cars tend to stall out on the inside in the middle, but have a good drive off. While the outside, you know, you have a little bit more of a consistent run throughout. Nelson, though, getting to the inside line. He's going to have to try and hold it through turns 1 and 2. Slides up the track a little bit. The 44 running way out of the racing groove, but still going to make it work. Gambit able to stay ahead of the 96. They follow, and just look at that gaggle of cars right behind. That's scary. That's almost 5 wide. Wisnowski thinks better of it. And speaking of Wisnowski, he would end up getting loose out of the line a little bit later. He gets hooked by Henry Williams, and that's going to collect Tommy Turbo. Scott Roush is going to go way to the inside, and now bring out our 6th caution of the race. They would both get going without too much issue, but they would lose some track position. Here's on board with Scott Roush, see what he saw. 23 car just goes sliding in front of him. He makes some contact with the 74, but look at this save. Scott Roush has seen a lot today, a lot of big wrecks. He would get by that as well, but would lose a lot of track position. Lap number 48. Closing in about 13 to go. Jim Gambit in the race lead. There's Robert Piet in the 82. Allie Nelson actually lost a lot of ground right before that last caution. Ended up dropping all the way back to about 7th place. But there's some new faces up there that we haven't talked about today. Kaloa Hankins in the 0. AJ Green in the 55. Jerry Guerra in the 71. A lot of these drivers looking for that all-important victory. Hankins has a win already. Got it at Devil's Bowl. But Green, Guerra, Piet. It's weird to say, Robert Piet, no victories despite being the defending champion. He's still looking for his first. He just won that championship last year off consistency alone. Gambit's going to hang on to it. But here comes Kaloa Hankins looking to the outside line. I've never seen anyone really make that work. But as you can see, he's got a little bit of help from Sylvain LaSalvage, also looking for a victory in that 88 machine. Potential 3 wide for the lead. LaSalvage backs out. But Kaloa Hankins is going to try and arc around the 44 on the outside line. Looks like he'll get done. He'll clear him. LaSalvage looking for a bit of track position there to the outside. Kyle Collins is in the mix as well, but not going to be able to get by the 44. Hankins to the lead. LaSalvage to second. Gambit still up there running strong. And how about Vanevenhoven? He's up there as well, running in the 6th place position, trying to make a pass for 5th. 3 wide racing near the front. Hankins would be in the lead for a little bit, but here comes Jim Gambit trying that move he tried earlier. Now it looks like it might work for him again. Side by side, he's going to sneak through the middle. See if he can clear the 0 on the back straightaway. He's got a lot of speed. He's very confident over the radio in this car. He just needs to make sure he stays ahead of these guys and not let these drivers get the jump on him. We talked about Caden Vanevenhoven. What a day for him. Got involved in a wreck fairly early on. Was mired near the back. Didn't qualify too well. But now finds himself up in the top 10. He's currently battling just around the 7th to 5th place position. This could be a great points day for him. Considering that the points leader is out, and also depending on what happens in race number 2, he may find himself with a chance to run for the title despite having no wins on the year yet. Though, of course, the 81's not going to settle for 5th. He's going to try and go for the top. Freddie Munoz, car number 02, gets a little bit of help from the Flying Dutchman, Robert Piet. And they're going to try and get by the 44 in a bit of a tag team effort. Gambit is just stuck to the front, and he's really making that outside line work. He knows how to race up there. And even by himself there, he's able to compete with these 2 cars drafting into the corner. But a couple of drivers are getting into the fray. There's Spencer Fullerton, Yacht Club himself, right in the top 5. There's Annie Thomas in 93. We haven't talked about her at all today. Munoz on the inside line, the 82, still trying to hang with him, but there's a little bit of separation. Fullerton getting close to the 44. It's a 2-car draft in the inside line, 3-car draft to the outside. Munoz, the rookie this year, trying to get that first career victory. A lot of drivers are actually trying to get their first career wins, and some are trying to end droughts, like Spencer Fullerton, who's going to make a pass for the lead. Looks through turns 3 and 4. He's got help from Annie Thomas, but is still mired on that inside line. Gambit still in his comfort zone. Side by side, the pass is not going to work, as Gambit is going to drive ahead, even with that huge gap between he and the 82 of Piet. Gambit is really on fire today, but Fullerton's still hanging in there, trying to make something happen. Makes a lunge into the corner. He's going to try and slot up ahead of these cars to defend second place. However, on the final lap, Jim Gambit able to stay ahead of these drivers and keep a couple car lengths. That was some intense battling with a couple laps to go, but Jim Gambit definitely has the car. He's going to run the outside line to keep it safe, block that outside pass, and coming to the line, Jim Gambit is going to win here at Michigan. The Gambit brothers have had great qualifying runs all year, have had some very consistent finishes, but no wins. How about Jim now? He's going to get this win, and he's actually somewhat close to the title. This win could potentially put him in position to run for the championship. We'll have to see how the events of race 2 will turn out and how they will affect the point standings, as Jim Gambit was a bit of an outside shot. But congratulations to the 44 of Jim Gambit. Let's take a look at your top 10. Gambit, of course, your winner today, followed by Spencer Fullerton. A great finish for him. AJ Green really making some things happen late in the year. How about Max Anderson? Got involved in that big wreck, would finish 4th today. Robert Piet would round out the top 5. Caden Vanevenhoven, a solid 6th place run. Freddie Munoz would drop back to 7th, but a top 10 effort for him nonetheless. Jerry Guerra in the 71. Kaloa Hankins would finish 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Sylvain LaSavage in the 88.